Hey there, welcome to the second part of the chess composition that we did last week. So this was the position which we started off with, and every single move had a lot of analysis and thought behind it. For example, do I move this rook or this rook? And we came to the conclusion that it had to be the G rook. If you want more details about why the G rook and not the A rook, please go look at the previous part of this puzzle. But this is how it worked. Starts with the G rook. King cannot go to the A file because wherever it goes, eventually white wins. So it has to be C file. And even in that, this is the only square it can work. Continue to give the check. King can't go back. Again, go back for the details to the previous video. King has to come back to D2, preventing the rook from coming to C1 and blocking the promotion. So the rook gives a check again. And at every move, the king has to keep going. And at this point, black seems to have found a way, thinking that, okay, if the next check comes, I go to G2 and then there's no longer any check. So this is where we stop part one. And right now, if you were playing white, can you find the magic move? Because the strategy of just giving checks is not going to work anymore, because after that, king goes to G2. And once he goes to G2, you pretty much have nothing left. So what is that one magical move that will turn the game around? Okay, so you can take your time, pause the video here and give it a shot. This is a wonderful study to really think outside the box and see how the game can turn with one magical move. The magical move is going to be so unintuitive, but nevertheless, therein lies the solution. Okay, welcome back. I hope you were able to give it a shot and you thought about it and saw what the best move is. If you found it, congratulations. If not, here we go. The best move here is rook E1 and sacrificing the rook. It's like if the king doesn't take it, you have control over the promotion square, and therefore definitely white wins from here. And if the king takes it, then you use the other rook and you come to h8. And what you're threatening is, hey, I don't mind if you promote, but I'm going to skewer you, right? Black, having seen this, obviously is not going to promote because that's like a direct loss, and he tends to move it here. At this point, you could directly give a skewer, a check here. King moves, and then you can come in and win the game. Or something that's even more elegant is this. Threaten to capture this without having to capture or give a check. And once the king comes here, you just have to take this pawn and then go back and take the other two pawns and win the game. Or better yet, just leave the pawns where they are, bring your king here eventually, and then try to do a back rank move. This is much more neater. And in the option that he promotes right now, you can always still give the skewer, take it up, and then take the pawns and eventually win the game. Alright, so let's look at it all the way from the beginning. Starts with this check. If the king goes to A file, then the other rook ends up skewering the king and queen. So king is forced to come to C3, can't go to C4 or C5 because post check, C1 is skewered. So the rook comes in here and promotes, stops the promotion. And therefore the king, on being given a check, has to come to D2, has to give a check again. And again, the king can't go back to C file because then the other rook gives a check and he's forced to go back into the B file, and this rook can come and decide to sacrifice the pawn, the rook for the pawn, and still end up winning the game because you have the extra rook. So black has to keep moving, and just when you think black has found a way, white comes up with the magical move that helps you win the game. And definitely, no matter what, even with this move, you can end up attacking this and force him to promote, getting your skewer. Okay, I hope you love the study. If so, please do like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much.